Shalom. So we're going to continue today with the book Sichot, Likrat, HaGiyus. It's our third learning at least. We until now have been talking about how the reason or one of the meanings of going to the army can be the fact that we are partners in defending Am Yisrael, and there's no greater mitzvah than that. That's what the words that we finished with last time we learned. Now we're dealing with something in addition to that. So he also talks about the fact that it's a mitzvah, what we're doing. So one of the mitzvahs is defending the Jew. The other one is the Jews, the Jewish nation. The other one is come and conquer the land, or inherit the land, which is from Devarim Aleph Chet, which, if we understand, sounds like it's a mitzvah. There is a mitzvah to conquer the land of Israel. Yerushat Haaretz Perusha Hakamat Ribonut Shel Am HaYehudi Be'eretz Yisrael. The understanding of what Yerushat Haaretz means, conquering and inheriting land, is creating a sovereign nation, or sovereign controlled by the Jewish nation, the land of Israel. And as the Ramban Nachmanides says on this pasuk, I believe, let me just see. No, it's from the Rambam Maimonides wrote a book called Sefer Mitzvot, which goes to the 613. The Ramban Nachmanides wrote a commentary on that, and it's called Hasagot Ramban, where he corrects, in his opinion, what the Ramban has missed out, or what he added, which he shouldn't have added, which will still help him get to 613. So, the Ramban writes in Shichat Asin, the forgotten positive commandments that the Ramban thinks Maimonides forgot, Mitzvah Arba, Mitzvah Dalet, that what? Shelo nazvena biyad zulatenu min ha'umot. We can't abandon the land of Israel to other nations other than us. Meaning the land of Israel needs to be settled by us. So now Rav Eli Sadan explains. HaMetziut hi brua. Ein afshut lekayem et ribonut ha'am ha'yehudi be'eretz Yisrael. Ela mikoch hatzava. Reality shows there's no possibility of showing that we are in control of the land of Israel, we the Jewish nation, in control of the land of Israel, other than using military force. Mashmuta hamasit shel mitzvah Yerushat Haaretz hi kiyum haribonut. The practical meaning of the mitzvah of Yerushat Haaretz, of inheriting the land, is establishing sovereignty. Lefichach chal chadash kvar b'yom rishon giyuso miyad kshavar et sharsheret hachiyul makem mitzvah zu afilu b'terem yara v'lu yiriya achat. So he says, according to this idea, a new soldier, on the first day of his service, as soon as he's gone through the process of drafting, where he goes to Bakum and he gets his disc with a number on it, and he gets his uniform, and he gets the injections he needs to get, he's gone through all of that. You're already doing the mitzvah of showing Jewish sovereignty, proving that there's Jewish sovereignty by having an army. On the day you join the army, you're already doing that. By being a soldier in the army, even if you still don't even know how to shoot a gun, you are doing what? Yeshuv Haaretz, conquering the land, showing that we're the sovereigns here. וזאת משום שהמצווה בו ורשו את הארץ, או עזרת יצא מיד צר, משמעותה איננה רק להילחם, אלא גם עצם יצירת ההרתעה המבטיחה שאומות העולם לא ימנעו מאיתנו לקיים את הריבונות ושלא יסכנו את חיינו. So he says like this. Why is this true? How is it possible that a soldier who has not even shot a gun yet is someone who can be what? Fulfilling the mitzvah of Yerushat Haaretz, Bo Reshut Haaretz. How does it work? It says like this. Because the mitzvah of Bo Reshut Haaretz, according to, like I said, Dvarim Aleph Chet, or Ezad Yisrael Miyad Sal, or aiding Am Yisrael from the hand which is attacking them, our enemies, which is a quote from the Rambam, which you learned in the first year, I believe, that there's a mitzvah of, the first year, the mitzvah of defending Jews, according to Rambam. Melchem mitzvah is also a war of self-defense. Its meaning isn't just that that you need to fight. Rather, it's also creating deterrence, which is going to make sure that the nations of the world don't prevent us from having sovereignty and won't endanger our lives. Meaning, an army isn't just the bullets you shoot. It's Jewish presence in uniform. And therefore, even if you're not shooting a bullet yet, the fact that you're in the army shows that what? You are present. Am Yisrael are present. We have another soldier who's present, showing that we have sovereignty over our country. אם השגת אותה מטרה נעשית ללא ירייה אחת, רק בעזרת כוח ההרתעה, מבחינה הלכתית זוהי, זה די ואותה. Says Rav Eli Sadan, if proving sovereignty can be done without you shooting one bullet, rather just through deterrence, halachically it's fine, meaning if Israel can develop a weapon, which is threat alone, let's say nuclear, if we do have nuclear, Israel still denies it, but if we have the atomic bomb or nuclear weapons, that deters a lot of nations. Do we need to use them? No. Even that achieves what? Reshu at Aretz, inheritance of land, conquering the land. Why? Because by the nation of the world knowing that we have these weapons at hand, that proves that they're not going to mess around with us. That dissuades them and prevents them from being involved and giving us the issues, and as such, that is also a way of keeping that mitzvah. So that means, as soon as you're in the army, you're part of that process. So he continues. Hasiba ha'achad v'yichida שסוריה ומצרים לא יוצאות למסע צבאי משותף של חיסול מדינת ישראל היא שהן שמעו שאתם התגייסתם לצה"ל והם מבינים שמול צה"ל אין להם סיכוי. He says the only reason why Syria and Egypt don't go out and fight us in a military operation against us in partnership, meaning Syria, Egypt versus Israel, to destroy the state of Israel, is why? Because they hear that you guys are going to the army. And they understand that against Tzal, against Tzva Haganah Israel, they don't have a chance. Why? Because we have the power of Hatra. Now, of deterrence. Now, it's true that unfortunately, 7th of October happened, and sometimes our deterrence doesn't work. But that's very often because Israel stops deterring because we aren't putting our money where it matters. We're not investing stuff which matters. We invest our money in underground detection of tunnels to stop them building tunnels, and what they do instead, they just pull down the fence, right? So obviously sometimes we're not doing deterrence as well as we should. The Egyptians and Syrians, מכירים את צה"ל. הם יודעים שצה"ל הוא צבא שקשה לנצח אותו. They know that Tzal is an army which is hard to overcome and be victorious against and to defeat. ולכן הם יושבים בשקט. Therefore they sit quietly and mind their own business, meaning Egypt and Syria sit quietly and don't get involved. If it wasn't for that, כבר בזמן היו פולשים וכובשים את כל הארץ. If it wasn't for the deterrence, the harta that we have, ages ago already they would try to conquer the land. ואגב, הגבול השקט ביותר בין ישראל הוא הגבול המהיר והגדול ביותר שלנו, עם סוריה, פשוט מפני שממוצב חרמון אפשר להתבונן לחלון חדרו של נשיא סוריה, הוא יודע שלא כדאי לו להתעסק איתנו. He says the most quiet border we've had for years is the border with our biggest enemy, with Syria. Why? Why do we have quiet on the Syrian border? Again, these things were said before 7th of October, before Simchat Torah, in Tafshin Pei Gimel. But still they very much apply. There may have been a stage where we thought the Syrians were going to give us issues, but then there was the uprising, and now the other guy's in charge, and we put him in his place as well, for now at least. So the reason why they've kept quiet, at least when Assad was in control, is because from the position we have on the Hermon, the base, we can look with the technology we have at the window of the president of Syria. And he knows it's not worth it for him to take the risk and get involved with us and, get himself into trouble. לכן, כל חייל שמתגייס ומצטרף למערכת הגדולה שנקראת צבא הגנה לישראל, המרתיע את אויבי ישראל מלתוקפנו בעצם קיומה, מקיים מצוות mitzvot elu. So he says like this. Therefore, a soldier who drafts and joins the process and the network that is called Tzvah L'Yisrael, he emphasizes L'Yisrael, the army of defense of Israel. It's what? It's what that gives deterrence to enemies of Israel from attacking us by just the fact that it exists. And then that's the mitzvah in itself. When you join the army, you're part and parcel of Tzahal. And Tzahal is the thing which deters the nations of the world from giving us issues as much as they'd like to. And as such, we are doing Bol Rashut Haaretz. We're stopping them from kicking us out. We're stopping us from building more towns and settlements. And therefore, we are part and parcel of that process of Yeshuva Haaretz. Of Rashu, right? Of inheriting the land for ourselves. יש נוהגים בישראל להקדים לעשיית מצווה אמירה של שם קודשא בריך הוא שכינתה. There are those Jews who have a minhag of saying before doing a mitzvah the Kabbalistic tefillah l'shem קודשא בריך הוא שכינתה, for the sake of the unification of God and His Shekhinah. That's the translation. Okay, so we Ashkenazim in general don't say it. There's one time a year where it does appear in the Sidurim before Sfirat Omer. Some people say Yishem Yichud Kudsha Brichu. Sfaradim say it for a lot of mitzvahs. In the art scroll, actually, it has the Yishem Yichud before Lulav Netrog as well. I can't think of other examples in the art scroll that it does include it, but those are the two I'm thinking of Sfirat Omer and Lulav Netrog. So he's saying there is this tefillah. Why do we say this tefillah? So as to direct us towards having the right intentions, that when we do a mitzvah, we're not doing it for honor, we're not doing it to impress others, we're not doing it because we feel bad, that we're doing it for the sake of heaven, that's it. Like I just said, and this is our minhag also in Sfirat Omer. There are those who say it before putting on talis and tefillin as well. So we have intention of the mitzvah, not just because it's norm and habit. We're saying the to awaken within us the intent of doing a mitzvah. So too, with this great, amazing mitzvah of going to the army, Haiti Mamlitz, says Rav Yisrael, I would recommend, anyone who goes into Bakum, Bakum is the main drafting base where guys go to get their dog tags and everything, go through there. Okay? He would recommend what? What should one do? Just before you go into the army, just before you start the drafting process, say the tefillah, so you know, I'm going to the army to be Mekam mitzvah. It's just not just a good thing to do. It's a full-blown mitzvah. Just like putting on tefillin and talit, it's a mitzvah. B'shem Kol Yisrael. In the name of all Israel, I'm not just doing it for myself, I'm doing it for Klal Yisrael. Hineni muchanu muzman. I am prepared and ready. Lekeh mitzvah aser shel. I'm ready to perform the mitzvah of Ezat Yisrael miyat tzar haba aleim, to help Israel from the hands of those who are attacking them. Umitzvat bo reshut haaretz, and fulfilling the mitzvah of come and conquer the land, or inherit the land. Likanes lebak, right? That's what you should say. That Shem Yichud Kudsha Brichu, really getting your mind in sync with the fact that what I'm about to do is a mitzvah. I have an opportunity to do a real mitzvah, not just for a day, for all the months and years I'm in the army. To know that what? When you're going to the Bakum, you're doing it for the sake of God's unification. Yichud Hashem. And that's what the Rambam also says in Hilchot Milchama. He's quoting him, alluding to it. That when you go to war, you forget about your wife, your children, your family, your business. You were going to war for what sake? That's what the wording of the Rambam. The Rambam says, Al Yichud Hashem. That's the wording of the Rambam. You're doing it for the sake of God's oneness. And what the Rambam even promises, if you do that, you'll come back from war safe. Now, what about all those? I'm just adding to what Rabbi Sedan says. How do you answer the fact that many said they can die in war? They might die in war, but the reward is still there. They get the reward, and they're looking down from Shemaim right now, happy they died al Kiddush Hashem. It wasn't random. They died al Kiddush Hashem, and because they died al Yichud Hashem, that in their mind, God, we're doing it for you, we're doing it for you, we're doing it for you. The reward is even greater. We're not bemoaning the fact, the lack of justice, the injustice that they're in Shemaim right now, because they know it's part of God's plan, and they are benefiting from closeness to God right now, wherever they are. Okay, we'll stop with that today. Shkach.